Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I think we're live. Yes, we are. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Let's move this out of the way. All right. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Let's see. Oh, I have the audio off here. Maybe that's why. Okay. How's it going, team? I think everybody can hear me. It's not coming out on my end. Hello. Hear you just fine. Great. Okay. That must just be me. I don't know why. Okay. So thank you guys for being here. Sorry for the delay. Man, I was trying to get this on my computer, but that's not your problem. That's my problem. So the big thing we're talking about today is sleep. I know Coach Luke sent out communication about the swim meet this weekend. If you're in the Top Fin meet this weekend, please take a look at the psych sheet and the entries. Remember, it's a Friday night meet, Saturday morning and Saturday evening. So just please take a look at that and make sure you understand warm-up times and all that sort of things. I'm not going to go into like each little detail here on the Afternoon News, but there's an email sent out, so I would check that out. If you have any specific questions about the meet, you can go ahead and put them here. I would love to answer them. So I'm going to kind of just get into our main topic. The big thing that we're going to talk about is sleep. I know everybody knows that sleep is important, but I'm going to talk about some of the deeper things about it, the actual benefits and negative consequences of sleep versus not sleeping. Most of you knows these things, but I'm going to go into it a little bit more. I will tell you, all my references come from these two places, mostly. There's a book called Why We Sleep. Fantastic book. It's all about sleep. It's great. And the second thing is called the Hubermann Lab Podcast. So this is a neurobiologist out of Stanford. He started up a podcast, I think this summer. But his first 4 episodes from the Hubermann Lab Podcast are all about sleep. How to get the best kind of sleep, schedules, that sort of thing, why it's important. He actually talks a lot about rhythms of the day, whether that's a 24-hour circadian rhythm or how a lot of our lives operate in about 90-minute rhythms, and that's how sleep works as well. So if you want to learn more, like me, I nerd out over this sort of thing, I would check out the book Why We Sleep or the Hubermann Lab Podcast. Episodes 1 through 4 are all about sleep, and they're absolutely fantastic. So let me pull up my notes here so I don't miss anything. So first thing, let's talk about how much you should sleep. And I think everybody knows the answer to this. It's 8 or more hours, especially for a young, growing body and mind. So sleeping 8 or more hours, you will not only get recovery benefits for your athlete, they will also get like cognitive and mental benefits. So that sort of thing. The big thing about sleep, if you don't know the different phases of sleep, there is like a rest phase where within that rest phase, let's say the first 60 minutes of sleep, your body can rest and recover in those 60 minutes. In the 30 minutes after that, we call that REM sleep or rapid eye movement. And that rapid eye movement is where you get the most cognitive benefits. So REM is especially important, I would say, for maybe our junior high and high school athletes, because their mood can be greatly affected. If you ever have somebody, or you yourself, you're having a bad day, your temper's a little shorter, that sort of thing, you're having a little trouble with your impulses, it can be sleep related. And the only way to rejuvenate that level of sleep would be getting into REM. And the only way to get into REM is by a good long sleep. You will not go into REM during a nap, unless you nap for, 2+ hours, which that's a long nap. I don't know anybody who naps that long. I personally love a good 20 or 30 minute nap, but those are the benefits. 8 hours of sleep, first 60 minutes physical rest. So that's why going into naps, why naps are so important. And we push napping between sessions It's a big, big thing. So this Saturday, let me pull this up real quick. So this Saturday we have a Saturday morning and Saturday evening session. Napping in between is a big deal. Your swimmer will feel better in the afternoon if they nap in that in between. As we go into our December meets, whether you're going to Core, whether you're going to the George Block meet, Winter Wonderland in San Antonio, or you're going to Pro-Am, those are prelim final sessions. Napping is important. In between sessions, you need a nap, because during nap is when you get that physical rest. Your body needs that physical rest to continue to perform in the afternoon. The only way to nap, you must have 2 to 3 hours. Woo, man, that's a heavy nap. You know, those long naps are where you wake up and you're like, what day is it? I can't do that. Me personally, I can't do that. In college, I mastered the power nap. That was mostly out of necessity, because I was working, I was an athlete, and then I was doing full-time school. So I only had like 20 minutes at a time to nap. But, so those are the big things. We covered 8 hours. The next thing, you will hear a lot of people talk about melatonin. It's a very common over-the-counter vitamin. And I got this from the Hubermann Lab Podcast. Melatonin is actually a hormone. Now, whether in that pill form, it's like whether or not that's a big dose of hormone or not, but your body naturally produces it. And your body will produce melatonin because that's when it signals your body to start to go to bed. So if you are using melatonin as a supplement, that is doing nothing for deep rest, whether that's deep rest, deep physical rest, or REM, that deep mental rest. Melatonin only helps you get to sleep. Now, here's one thing why I would advise against it, and again, I got this from the Hubermann Lab Podcast. Melatonin capsules, they vary widely in their potency. So meaning where if you have, I don't know the normal doses for melatonin, but I'm just going to use this for example. If you have a 5 milligram pill of melatonin, those have been reported to range between like either 50% less than what it says or 50% more, or the numbers can be bigger than that. So what I'm trying to say there is things like that are not regulated heavily. Supplements do not have to be regulated by the FDA. So I would just say, I don't believe your athletes need melatonin. Their bodies produce it just fine. You don't need to add an extra level of something that their body can already produce. In that Hubermann Lab Podcast, now what I'm about to say is way beyond my understanding. I'm just relaying the information. Melatonin can get in the way of, like, say, growth hormone and stuff like that in teenage athletes. And during that physical rest while you're sleeping, that's when your body will release the most of your growth hormone, which is where you get the most out of recovery. So I would stay against melatonin. Now, when I talk about melatonin is released naturally to tell your body when to go to sleep, all of our bodies work on what we would call a circadian rhythm, or a 24-hour rhythm. And the best way to use this to your advantage is to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. Now, I know there's days with morning practice, so that's hard. It's like, do I wake my swimmer up at 5:30 every day? And I'm going to leave that up to you. It's a little different with younger athletes. But going to bed at the same time every day and waking up at the same time every day is more beneficial than saying, like, getting 5 hours, then 8 hours, then 6 hours, then 7 hours. Getting your body on a rhythm, your body operates its best at a rhythm. I don't know about you, but me personally, after about 9:30 p.m., my brain stops working. I mean, I cannot do anything cognitively demanding after 9:30 p.m., and it's a pretty quick downhill, and 10:30 is about, I would say, my average bedtime. So your body works on a circadian rhythm, and what can help this rhythm, not everybody has access to what I'm about to say, but I'm just telling it to you because I think it's beneficial. A dose of sunlight in the morning reminds your body, hey, it's time to wake up. So I would say about 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight in the morning. This is outside sunlight. And right now with time change, the sun's coming up a little sooner. So 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever that is for your athlete, whatever their schedule is. If you're homeschooled, it's a little easier. If you have actual school, it's a little harder. But being outside in the sunlight will bring more alertness to your body. It is not the same if you are, say, staring out a window. It's not the same amount of sunlight there's actually like a significant less amount of lumens that enter your body. And as the light hits your eyes, it signals to your body it's time to wake up, which is great for alertness in the morning. So say morning meets, after morning practice, that sort of thing. And the same thing happens in the evening. So if you can go for an evening walk as a family, where you guys are actually watching the sun go down a little bit. Let me click on this, make sure. It's just me today, so I'm trying to manage these comments. So if you can go into a evening walk as a family, it'll start signaling to your body that, okay, it's time to start shutting down. And in those 2 hours before bed, an evening walk can really help your body get to sleep faster. My daughter, I think she needs this. I will put her to bed around 7:30, and I just hear her playing in her room for about an hour and a half. And she doesn't even get up out of bed. She just literally lays in bed and is like talking to herself. When she was younger, she used to put like her socks on her hands, and like they would talk to each other. But so that sort of thing helps. Waking up, sunlight in the morning, sunlight at night. Let's see. Comments. There we go. So naps are important. Sunlight in the morning, watching the sunrise at night. I know that sounds cheesy, but circadian rhythms, our bodies work best on a rhythm, and if you're trying to get the most out of your sleep, I would advise that. The next thing, in that same 2 hour window before bed, screens. You really don't want screens on before bed, so that's phones, laptops, that sort of thing, because it will push back that natural time clock of when it's time to go to bed. You will push back that time release of melatonin further back, and that just makes it harder to go to sleep. And then when it's harder to go to sleep, you get less sleep. When you get in less sleep, you get less physical deep rest, cognitive deep rest. And so my last point is it can become a vicious, or what's the opposite of vicious? A positive reinforcing cycle. So just for example, let me just lay out what a bad day would look like. So you wake up and you're late, right? You're really tired, so you're late. You're a little cranky throughout the day, and you have a hard workout that afternoon, and you're already stressed out from the day, and then you have a hard workout. Hard workouts add stress to your body. They can make you feel better because it releases, you guys have heard of endorphins, but hard workouts are also hard on the body. And then you got to stay up late to do homework, right? So, and then you push that clock back. You're doing homework, you're looking at screens, that sort of thing. You push that clock back, you go to bed even later, you don't get as much deep rest. So then you become more stressed out. And then the following day, you kind of keep adding to that. So I would say bad sleep can become a vicious cycle, and getting proper sleep can become a positive reinforcing cycle. You have a long day, you have a long, hard day. We have a lot of athletes who are required to do really good in school and good in swimming. And we have a lot of athletes who are really successful at both of those things. And a good night's sleep is a great reset for the morning to do it again. Because if you're recovering better, not just physically, but mentally, then your ability to do more the next day goes up. And the more you can do, and then you recover, that's how you make faster gains. If you don't get proper sleep, you're not getting proper recovery. So if you work out hard, but your body doesn't recover, you're not going to be able to work out just as hard the next day. And it might not happen in one day to the next. It might be you can go hard for 2 days and then you crash on day 3. But an athlete who can do really well, whether this is school or sports, that can do really well 3, 5, 7 days in a row because of the sleep and recovery that they're getting, that athlete is going to have an edge over the person who's tanking out after a day or two because of sleep, because that's such a big one. Professional sleeper. Ethan complains if he naps, his muscles get tight and sore. Soreness and tightness, I wouldn't say that that's sleep. That is your body trying to recover, right? So my advice to that would be when you wake up, I would roll out and stretch. Young, especially Ethan's age, they are growing so much, guys. Guys between 11 to 14-year-old, our boys and girls are just growing so much physically that even if they didn't work out, they would still have like soreness and tightness because of those joints and those muscles that are growing. So my advice, if after naps and stuff you feel worse, I would watch how long you nap. So like I said earlier, there's specific rhythms. 90 minutes I think should be the upward limit of a nap, just based on how our bodies work in a 90-minute rhythm when it comes to sleep. After 90 minutes, if you nap a little too long, or you wake up in the middle of like, say, an REM type cycle, you can just wake up feeling really groggy. And the perfect nap might be different for everybody. So I would play with it. It's like, you want to feel refreshed after a nap. You don't want to feel like, oh my God, I need to go back to sleep. Also, if you're napping and you're not feeling refreshed, I would look at the sleep the night before as well. Because if you don't get quality sleep, then your body kind of gets in a rush to get that sleep. So it is possible to go into what we would call REM sleep sooner, if you're not getting proper REM or like deep cognitive rest at night. Let's see, do we have any questions about this? I'm having a hard time seeing some of the comments here. I'm only seeing like a few here. Let's see if I expand it. Jenna said, examining warm down habits at meets, especially in the 11 to 14-year-old age group. They are transitioning to where they really start having muscle mass, and when you have muscles, that means they get sore. If you don't warm down properly, you are going to be more sore. And I'll tell you, from an 11 to 14-year-old coach, it is hard to get that age group to warm down properly. I think maybe half of my kids warm down properly. We're really working on it. That's what I think. I could be wrong. But let's see. Let's see if we have any questions about sleep. 3 to 4 hours nap. Now I'm ready for a nap. Wow. Hopefully this isn't too boring. So those were my big points. I covered 8 hours of sleep, going to bed and being awake at the same time. I would advise against melatonin. Your athletes don't need it. They produce it naturally. Other sleep aids, I mean, I know there's, is Epsom salt like something people do before bed? Hot showers can be good before bed. I believe so. Hot showers, I would look that up. But there's something in the back of my head saying hot showers, whatever, 30 minutes, an hour before bed, can help you get to bed a little easier. Screen time in the 2 hours before bed, not good. It just pushes that natural clock. It pushes back the natural release of melatonin, which helps you get to sleep. And then caffeine in the evenings. I don't know a lot of kids that are drinking caffeine, but you know, sodas have caffeine, that sort of thing. Sodas, caffeine in the evenings. What caffeine does, ready? I don't know if I'm getting like too much in the weeds of the details, but here's what caffeine does. So the way caffeine keeps you more alert is melatonin hits your, I guess they're called, I'm not sure what they're called, I'm sorry. But as melatonin goes in, you get more sleepy, right? What caffeine does is it blocks where melatonin goes in. I don't know what that place is called. Maybe people that are smarter than me would know. But caffeine will block melatonin from coming in. The later in the day that you have caffeine, it takes a while for caffeine to get out of your body. Some people say it takes about 6 hours for caffeine to get out of your body. That's why a lot of people say like no caffeine after 2 p.m., 2 or 3 p.m. Moses is complaining of soreness in his abdomen. Ooh, man. I would just see what's that from. I mean, he could be working out harder. He could be growing. But if it feels like really internal, maybe a little worried. I don't know. But if it feels like muscle, then, you know, we kick a lot, and kicking will get those abs fired up. What is properly warm down? That's a good question. I would say it just depends on the race. For hundreds and 50s, I would say 200 to 300 warm down. For 200s and above, 500 would be a proper warm down. Most kids are not doing that. It is a struggle at every level to teach you that. Soreness or cramping? Oh yeah, I'm trying to answer the questions. So, man, that was a lot of information on sleep. Hopefully we learned a little bit about something. I will tell you, me personally, I have been really trying to get some sunlight in the morning and see some sunlight in the evening. That helps me sleep a little better. Ever since I've had kids, though, I've had zero problem. Like, since we've personally had kids, I've had zero trouble going to bed. I'm just tired at the end of the day, whether that's from work or it's usually because of everything. And you can't warm down slow. That's right, Coach Jenna. So just floating through warm down is not a proper warm down. It should be moderate effort. So like a kick and chat is not a proper warm down. And your swimmer knows the difference between swimming slow and swimming moderate. It's the same with swimming slow will not warm you up. Swimming slow just doesn't get the blood moving enough to clear out that lactate that builds up. And it will help with soreness. What is the spacing for warming down after an event but before the next event? So Jesse, this is a good question, and the answer is it varies. As an athlete gets better at understanding how the entire meet works, you can start planning your warm downs. If you know you're going to have 30, 40 minutes between your next race, you can get that full warm down in. If you have 15 minutes before your next race, like you know it's going to be about 15 minutes, then what you should do, you and your coach, you should say, okay, after this race, I don't want you to talk to me after this race. Once you're done, I want you to go get a little warm down in, whether that's 200-300. That takes about 5 minutes, by the way, 5 to 6 minutes. 200-300, and then go get ready for your next race. So it just depends on how close there is. But if you have 30 minutes between an event, you have time to get a full warm down. If you're in the less than 15-minute range, you might not have time to go talk to your coach. You, the athlete, need to go straight to the warm down pool, warm down, and then go talk to your coach about the next race. And then, at the end of both races, you can talk. So that's something what we do. What is the spacing? I don't know if I answered your question exactly there, Jesse, but the spacing is just whatever it is. It varies at different meets. At really big meets, you might have an hour between races. And we've all been in those situations. So I would just do what you can. I would say that Lizzie knows none of this timing before, after racing. Yeah. So Angela, that is a teaching thing. We teach this as they go. I will tell you guys, at the 10 and under level, physically, they probably don't need as much warm up as we're saying. The biggest reason we teach them to warm up and warm down at 10 and under specifically is to build that habit, because it's important to do. Because when they start putting on muscle, that's when it really matters. 10 and unders don't get sore in the same way. It's just different. Their body's just not producing growth hormone and those other hormones that help you grow and help you build muscle, that sort of thing. So can coaches talk to younger kiddos about this? Yes. So after every race, we tell them to go warm down. As far as the spacing goes, as a coach, I'm going to tell you how it goes on the pool deck. It is hard to always know, let's say ahead of time, how close the races are going to be. So especially at Dolphin 1 and up level, they are old enough to look at a heat sheet and learn, hey, if your events are close, what are we going to do about that? How close your events are. When a coach is coaching 20 plus athletes on the pool deck, and in this heat you have 5 kids, the next heat you have another 5 kids, it's really hard to think about that one kid who has an event back to back to back when you're trying to take care of all your athletes at the same time. So, but what I would do is I would start teaching our athletes, which we do this, how to read a heat sheet. It should not be up to the coaches. I would make sure the kids know when and where they have to go. And an athlete can understand, if I'm in event 11 and then event 13, that's very close. There's only one boys event in between. Like, you know that's going to be close. So, hi Jenna. So, that's my take there. Yes, we teach them. I'll just say that it's hard to always know exactly when. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Good questions today, everybody.
Yeah, very good questions. Was there anything that didn't make sense?
No. We covered everything.
Jenna is really good at my make sense filter because
10 years, everybody.
when I talk, sometimes things really make sense in my head.
You forget steps out loud sometimes.
I also think out loud. A lot.
Yeah. You gotta wait till the end.
Wait till the end.
When you've made a decision, that's the thing that matters.
So, let's see if I didn't see any other questions. My comments were not popping up in the big screen, so I'm having to scroll through them. Hey, really great questions about warm down and soreness and naps, that sort of thing. Like I said, the big takeaways, I wouldn't do melatonin, 8 hours or more sleep a night. As far as napping, it's very important, but length of nap, it also does depend on your athlete. We have some athletes who in the past really have trouble napping and didn't like how they felt, but they would just rest.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have a kid who refuses to nap or absolutely hates how they feel, put them on a couch or in a hotel room on the bed, and they just have to rest for 2 hours. You just lay there and do nothing.
One thing you didn't mention when you were talking about like warm down and planning warm down when you have like the full scope of the meet is food. Food and water need to be a part of that like plan process.
Yeah.
Like Brady Cawthon was always really great at that. He would like like how Mike was saying, when kids would have back-to-backs and they'd be like, Coach, I'm not going to come talk to you after my race. I'm going to go warm down and then I'll go straight to my next one. I'll talk to you after both. He would bring me like, hey, I'm going to stop by and I'm going to grab this applesauce and these gummies on my way to the warm down pool.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So that's part of it too.
Yep. You know, when you have a evening session and then you have an early morning session the next day, like say if you're in the mile tonight and you're at the pool till, I haven't looked at timelines, but
it's actually great, 7:30.
Woo! But there are meets where, man, finals ends at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And then we got to be at the pool at 6:30 the next day. And if you plan that night, if you plan on like, hey, we're going to go on this big family dinner, that's great and it's fun, I know. But you just have to understand that you're probably not going to get to bed till like 11.
And your swimmer will swim slower the next day.
So you can plan whether that's picking up food beforehand, if you're here in Midland, it's easy, right? When it's out of town, it's a little harder.
Yeah.
But planning of food and stuff helps with that. Nutrition is so hard during meets, 100%. 100%, it's hard. That's where it's preparation.
When in doubt, eat more.
When in doubt, eat more. Give your swimmer bags of stuff. And, yeah. Okay. Sleep. It's really good. I don't see any more questions. So, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Get some sleep. And let's race well this weekend.
See what you did there. Good one.
Thank you.